Hey guys, I'm in Iceland this week to cover Reykjavik Pride, but I have updates on Trump's military ban, on marriage equality in Australia, and on rentboy.com. Let's dive in on a hinsegin dagar edition of Weekly Debrief. This week, Rentboy CEO Jeffrey Harant was sentenced to 6 months in prison and a fine of $7,500. The Department of Homeland Security raided his offices in 2015, claiming that the website was a threat to cyberspace somehow. When it was active, Rentboy.com protected queer sex workers by screening clients, providing professional training, and some limited forms of labor protection. This week's sentencing will have a chilling effect on companies that work with queer sex workers, which will disproportionately put LGBT people at risk. I made a whole video that you can watch about how when sex work is criminalized, countries see higher rates of human trafficking, violence, and STIs. It's probably why leading human rights groups and medical professions support decriminalization. Rentboy provided robust protections specifically focused on queer people. In fact, Harant's sentencing judge Margot Brody said that of the site, there is no question it did a lot of good. There are plenty of straight escort sites still in operation, and the Department of Homeland Security didn't have to go after Rentboy. But for some reason, they did. And now, with this week's sentencing, they've sent a message that you can go to jail for working with queer sex workers, which will put people already at risk even more at risk. So, thanks DHS. In other news of the government doing more harm than good, Trump's ban on transgender military service is still moving ahead, but a new study from the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey says that his purge may cost the military $1 billion. That's because there are thousands of trans soldiers currently serving, and it will be extremely costly and disruptive to identify them, process their dismissal, and then train replacements. Imagine a company firing thousands of employees and then needing to find replacements for all of them. It's an unbelievable waste of resources. Republicans claim that trans soldiers are expensive and disruptive, and yes, to be fair, there is a small medical cost associated with providing healthcare to trans soldiers. It's about $8 million by some estimates. But the cost of firing all of those people is about 10 times more. So, once again, the government is achieving the exact opposite of their stated goals. That's also the case in Australia, where lawmakers are moving towards a national vote on marriage equality. The situation is complicated, but to sum it up, a few years ago, lawmakers who were scared to stick their necks out and support the freedom to marry decided to pass the buck by saying that they supported a national vote on marriage equality. It was a terrible idea then, and a terrible idea now. These votes on people's equality are expensive, it's non-binding, and in places where similar votes have happened, like California with Prop 8, there was a surge in violence against LGBT people. Most citizens didn't want the vote when it was proposed, and even fewer want it now. Nevertheless, politicians are sticking by the plan, and now they've found a way to make it even worse, doing it by mail. It'll be cheaper, a little more than $100 million rather than $500 million, but it'll be even less binding, it'll be less accurate, and there are fewer restrictions on deceptive advertising, so we can expect to see more attacks on queer people with no basis in fact. What do all of these stories have in common? Well, in every case, government officials say that they're just trying to help, but in fact, they're making things worse. In Australia, officials are bragging about keeping a promise, but it was a promise that nobody wanted them to make. In the United States, their ostensible cost-saving measure will actually cost about 10 times what they'll save. And in court, they're putting more vulnerable people at risk. So this week's action item is to do some actual helping. The organizations NCLR and GLAAD just filed a lawsuit to protect trans service members. You can support their work by going to GLAAD.org, that's GLAAD with 1A, and click Get Involved to find out how you can support their work, protect the jobs of trans service members, and also save the military from spending $1 billion to save $8 million. You can also help by just spreading the word about these threats to the LGBT community and the ways that people can get involved. Please keep sharing these videos, and if you have tips about actions that people can take, let me know in the comments on YouTube or at Matt Baum on Twitter. I'll be back in the US in a couple days. Siams nice to viku.